Hello, all. This is Devika from MITSDE, and you're listening to the MITSD podcast. More people than ever prefer listening to information bits, pro tips, or educational content on the go. And this podcast series is here to discuss the latest advancements in different industries, share some cool corporate tips, the opportunities, and the strategies that will help you become a pro professional. On this note, I'll hand over the mic to our very own Professor Bonnie Rajesh, the academic content lead for marketing and business communication.
A big welcome to all my listeners again on this podcast series. Now, this is my second podcast on this commonly asked interview question series. Today, I will be helping you tackle three other interesting questions that are generally asked for any interview. Now, as you prepare for your interview, you may be considering which questions the employer is going to ask you. While honestly, there's no way to know for sure what topics will be covered. However, there are several popular interview questions you can expect to be asked. So, for today's series, I'm going to tackle three important questions. One, what are your greatest strengths? Number two, what are your greatest weaknesses? And number three, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Interesting questions. I don't know how many of you have been asked these questions before, but I can definitely say that I was being asked this question. So, questions like, what are your greatest strengths? Now, this questions gives you an opportunity to talk about your technical and soft skills. To answer, share qualities and personal attributes and then relate them back to the role for which you're interviewing. If you remember in my first podcast of this most important interview questions and how to answer them, I told you I had given a very important tip that always try to answer the question that they are interested in. So, if you have a certain skill that is not going to be useful for the job that you're going to apply for, do not even try to think about it. Don't even talk about it. Don't even discuss about it. Because what good is it for them in knowing what skill you have is not going to be used in that particular job? So, generally, candidates, when they are being thrown with this question, they generally talk about, time management. I'm very punctual. I'm very disciplined, etc. This is not exactly what they want to know. They want to know if you're a problem solver. They want to know if you can take challenges. And they want to know with examples. So, here's giving you an example to this question. I'm a natural problem solver. I find it rewarding to dig deep and uncover solutions to challenges. It's like solving a puzzle. It's something I have always excelled at and something that I generally enjoy. Much of product development is about finding innovative solutions to challenging issues, which is what drew me to this path in the very first place. You see how that answer or the how that strength did not talk about things like my concentration level or my time management skills or my sense of discipline. It talked about me being a problem solver. It talked about me being interested in digging or deep diving to a problem to find a solution which is new to everybody. So this is what you need to bring out with this question. Now, the second most important question that I generally asked is, can you give us or can you tell us what are your weaknesses? Now, it can definitely feel awkward to discuss your weaknesses in an environment that is totally new to you. You're sitting in front of a panel of people whom you're seeing for the very first time. Now often what happens over here is many candidates tell them, sir or ma'am, I do not have any weaknesses. Now that's ego speaking. We all have our weaknesses, right? There's another misconception over here. People think, taking a strength and converting it into a weakness is a real weakness. No. For example, I've had a candidate whom I had interviewed a few years back told me that one of my weaknesses is to make friends. Making friends is not a weakness, it's a strength. Or being friendly is not a weakness, it's a strength. So it's very important for you to identify your weakness. Now, when you answer this question, You are actually showing that you are self aware and you want to continuously get better at your job. So, not only are you stating your weakness, but at the same time, you're also telling the panel of interviewers or your prospective employers that I am coming up with measures to come out of my weakness. So, this tells them that you are a go getter. So, your traits that are extremely attractive to many employers will always be attractive. But identifying your weaknesses and telling them ki this is exactly what I am doing, or this is my solution to my weakness, and I am, and this is what I'm doing about it, gives you a good start. So remember to start with the weakness and then discuss the measures you have taken to improve. This way, you're finishing your answer on a positive note. It's very, very important, whatever question that are being thrown to you, to answer it in a positive manner. Now, how do you answer this question? For example, I sometimes have trouble saying no and end up overwhelmed by my workload. Earlier in my career, I would take on so many projects that I'd work evenings and weekends. It was stressful. I realized this was counterproductive. So I started using workload management tools and setting better expectations for myself and my teammates. Simple. Now, I would not say that it is easy to talk like this, but one tip that I would like to end this particular series is with, if you know these are the questions, write it down and practice it. Only you know what are your weaknesses and your strengths and what you can do to overcome it. So, write down the keywords and fill in the flesh later. Another interesting question which they generally ask you is, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Now, understanding how you imagine your life in the future can help employees understand whether the trajectory of the role and company fits in with your personal development goals. Are you aligned? Are you going to be in sync? Now, to answer, provide general ideas about the skills you want to develop, the type of roles you would want to be in, and the things you would want to have accomplished in the next 5 years. For example, in 5 years, I'd like to be an industry expert in my field with the ability to train and mentor students and entry level designers. I would also like to gain specialized knowledge in user experience to be a well rounded contributor working with design and marketing teams on large scale projects that make a difference in the company and to the global community. Thank you so much for listening to me today. And do definitely write to us for more questions and more doubts. I am more than willing to answer all of them. Till then, this is Professor Bonning Rajesh signing off from MIT SDE.